What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Emphasis on Sports. I'm your host, Damon Anthony, and as always, I'm just going to bring you a different take on sport. Just a guy out here. I watch a lot of sports. I have my thoughts too. You did? All right, so now the Olympics is behind us. Can't wait for 2028. Los Angeles. I will be in attendance. This happened. Wait, this like I'm going. Nothing's going to stop me from going. I love the Olympics. I got to be there. Got to check it out. I've seen all the other all the four major sports in North America live. Got to see some Olympics. But moving on from that, we all know what's next. Glorious football. Love it. Football is my drop. Just going to let y'all know. I love basketball. Big fan of baseball, hockey. Probably is going to go Olympics and then the NFL for me. Love the NFL. College is real cool. Fan of college, but nothing beats the NFL. Excuse me. There's always been people that say crazy things like, this team, Alabama, when they were at the top of their top, they could beat the worst NFL team. No, they can't. So, on a college football team, maybe a great college football team, they may have 25 to 30 future pros. Now, what that means is going to get drafted, going to be on a team, going to have the chance within their first 1 or 2 years coming out of college, right? When you look at the worst team in the league, they got 53 pros. 53. And these aren't guys hoping to get a job. A lot of them have been there before. It's just a team, it's just a system, coach, whatever it may be, right? So NFL is always going to be king to me. With that said, we talked about it before. I promised it. Now it's happening. And I'm going to go back to back on y'all, just so you can check them out all the way through. But we are doing the NFL preview, right? And we're going to do this by conference. At the end of all of it, I am going to say who I think is going to win the Super Bowl. Them, right there. But we're going to go conference to conference, division by division. We're gonna, talk a little bit about all of these teams, what I see is gonna happen, what I think may happen. And then at the end of the season, I wrote it all down. I'm gonna circle back, see if I'm right. Who knows, right? May even have to place all this shit on a bet. See what happens. All right, let's start in the AFC. So, AFC, we're gonna start. I'm going in the order of news: north, east, south, west. So we're going to start with the AFC North, right? We all know the AFC North is real heavy. That is a actually really, really tough division, 1 through 4. A lot of people are saying that Pittsburgh is probably the bottom of the division. Remember, Pittsburgh went 9-8 last year. It's one of those divisions, or maybe they went 10-7, but either way, Pittsburgh to be the bottom of the division, it's tough, right? So, no, last year, we all got to see Cleveland rise up, Baltimore rise up. Cincinnati went through some injury issues. Pittsburgh went through some quarterback issues, so they went out and got 2 quarterbacks. I really like that old saying, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. So as much as I really like Pittsburgh, I don't think they're going to win that division. Cincy, Joe Burrow's back, but with the injury that he suffered, which very rare injury that he's coming back from, we're going to have to see what happens. Can he spin that ball? Can he continue to be Joe Burrow? What's going to happen when he's under pressure, when he takes a big hit? How does that affect his injury? We don't know. Also, T. Higgins, how's he going to play out? How's that going to happen? They lost Joe Mixon. That's a game changer. Joe Mixon has been there for a while. We know that they're going to come with a pretty solid defense. We know that they're going to play pretty well. If Joe Burrow can do his thing, maybe they win the division. I happen to think that they do not. We talk about the Baltimore Ravens. Look, man, Lamar Jackson, he's true. Can't say nothing about him. Nothing. Only thing that people can say is he hasn't made it to a Super Bowl. Okay. All right. That's cool. Dude's an absolute stud. He's one of those those football players, you could talk all the trash that you want until you put on the tape. It's undeniable the talent that he has. And now they add Derrick Henry, which makes it crazier because when they run something like an option, you really got to commit. And I also think that they're going to change their backfield, the dynamics of it a little bit. Derrick Henry is much more downhill. I don't think he's a stand next to the quarterback and take one of those handoffs. I think he's a line up behind the quarterback, maybe in the pistol, maybe a situation like that. Lamar is not your typical under center quarterback, so you may have that pistol action with Derrick Henry right behind him. And the defense has to be on their heels because whoever you commit to can kill you in different ways. Derrick Henry can truck you and then take it 90 yards. We know what Lamar can do. He's shake and bake and he's gone, right? Not to mention last year we also saw that arm. His arm has gotten a lot better, a lot more pinpoint, a lot more accurate, making some throws in some real tight windows. Really, really great progression by him. We just have to see how this works out. Mark Andrews, he was hurt a lot last year. He's going to come back. He's one of those tight ends that's in the same bracket as a Kelsey or a Kittle. And when I say that, I mean it doesn't really matter what you do; it's about what they do. If they want to score 3 touchdowns and have 150 yards, it's going to happen because the quarterback loves them, trusts them, and somehow or another, them some bitches always get open. We know that defense and special teams is going to be spectacular. Really want to see Justin Tucker now with the new kickoff. He's one of, if not the best kicker of all time. But this is a huge change. So let's see how that works out because it's always been a real boon for them to have a Justin Tucker. But let's see what the new rules, how that shakes out. Right. That being said, I actually don't think they're going to win the division. I think the Cleveland Browns are going to win the AFC North. Hear me out. Now, a lot of people are automatically just going to say, Cleveland. Oh, Deshaun Watson. I get it. But let's not be short-sighted on this team last year. Remember, Deshaun got hurt. Now, there was a small window before he got hurt where he looked really, really good. Small window. I'm not saying multiple games. Small window. Where he looked really good. But, all right, take him out of the equation. Look at the rest of the team. They got Joe Flacco up off the couch. By his own admission, he wasn't doing nothing but dropping the kids off. They brought him in. They went on a tear. They went to the playoffs. They beat some really good teams last year. They beat them. I was at that game. But they beat some really good teams last year. They're coming with a top 5 defense. We know that. Myles Garrett, he's not human. He's ridiculous. So they're coming with this great defense. And then on offense, Amari Cooper is probably the most underrated, under-talked about receiver for a very long time. He shows up and does his business all the time. They go get Jerry Jeudy. He's a stud. He's been in a kind of shit situation the last couple of years in Denver, but he's a stud. And for him to come in and be the number 2 guy, that's pretty solid. Tight end. We saw David Njoku did his thing. To me, last year reminded me of Vernon Davis when he actually, when that all clicked up here and he got a little better. That's what it reminded me of. It looked real good. Now, the backfield is going to be interesting. One thing I know about the Browns is they're always going to throw out great running backs. So we know that the run game is going to be solid. Nick Chubb is going to come back at some point. I believe that he's going to come back and he's going to be ready. He's going to be healthy. He's going to be solid. But we need to see that happen. That being said, if this Cleveland Brown team, if Deshaun Watson comes out and he plays solid football, a lot of people around the globe, a lot of talking heads, especially people in Cleveland, they're expecting to see that old Houston Deshaun Watson form. You may never see that. You just need the guy to go out and be a really good quarterback. You don't have to be great. Just be really good. Because that's something that Cleveland hasn't had for a while. Last year, Joe Flacco wasn't great. He was really good. Because dude still threw a shit ton of picks. But he took him to the playoffs. Get Deshaun in there. Deshaun is a better player than Joe Flacco. If he could play up to let's say 80% of the potential, and he could stay healthy. That's a big one. He could stay healthy. I think they can win this division. All right, next up, let's move on. AFC East. I'm going to go from the bottom to the top if you're not picking up what I'm putting down. Patriots. We already know. Patriots are going to be terrible. It's just what it is. It's okay. It's fair. They had a long stretch. Let's see what Drake May can do. Bill Belichick's out of there. Let's see how that transition actually works. Is Gerard Mayo going to be able to hold it down? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Only thing we can do is see. But I really don't have a ton to say about that. All right. Then we're going to have the Buffalo Bills. I think a lot of people have a lot of faith in the Bills, and I can understand that. The Bills have been solid, but the Bills have just been a good team, a really good team. They haven't shown me that they could take the next step. We can talk all that we want about Josh Allen and how good he is. He has all of the attributes, all of this, the whole skill set to do it. It just doesn't happen. Now you take Gabe Davis, you take Stephon Diggs out of there. A lot of the defense is changed. I don't know what they're going to have. I think that they're going to do okay and go above 500 because I do think Josh Allen is a good quarterback. And I do think that they have the right framework, so to speak. Running back James Cook, he's going to do his thing. Dalvin's little brother, he's going to do his thing. I think he's going to be very good. The new kid, Keon Coleman, hey, they're raving about him. He seems to have his head in the right place. Let's see what happens. But I don't have as much faith as everybody else. Then we're going to move to the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins, I mean, there's not too many like legit holes on their offense. We'll see if Tua can continue the path that he's been on. He's looked great. We know Tyreek. Come on. Cheetah, ridiculous. We know Jaden Waddle. He's out there doing his thing. We know Mr. Raheem Mostert started with him. Solid. Mike McDaniel. Good coach. Good coach. Let's see what that defense does. Now, last year their defense was all right. Wasn't really great. Like let's keep it on. Let's see what they do. Let's see if they can play well in December and January. That's always the biggest thing with Miami. Miami's going to do good, when it's really hot or if it's all home games. Now, when you go on the road, you got to play someplace like a Kansas City, which is possible, or you got to play New York Jets or something like that. In that cold weather, it's a game changer to the guys from Miami. Always has been, always will be. So let's see how far they go. But I got them coming in second in the AFC. And number one, I'm going to go with the New York Jets. For years and years and years, Aaron Rodgers lived in Green Bay. He was in the NFC. Now I'm going to say that San Francisco, we own Aaron Rodgers. Like it's cool. But for years and years and years, he was over there. Saw the man play. He's a legend, Hall of Famer, yada, 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 all the things, right? He goes to the Jets. They pretty much reconstruct that team around him. He gets hurt a couple snaps into the game, first game last year. I was shocked. I was devastated. I actually was like really looking forward to seeing that game, especially after watching the Hard Knocks. It's like, all right, this is going to be really cool. Then the guy gets hurt. All right, get it. Now coming into this year, barring him getting hurt, I don't see why they don't. We know that defense is going to be good. All they need is the offense. This really reminds me of, and I'm not comparing the defense to that, just to understand, just kind of what it reminds me of. The Baltimore defense back in the day with Ray Lewis, that was really, 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 really damn good. But the offense couldn't score nothing. And they brought in Trent Dilfer, and it was like, bruh, if you could just give us 17 points, we'll be all right. It's kind of what this team is. And if you're telling me Aaron Rodgers is leading that offense with the young Breece Hall, young Garrett Wilson, pick up Mike Williams, dude gets hurt. We'll see. But remember, throughout Aaron's career, he typically only has one great receiver. He makes the other guys. You want to tell me Randall Cobb is a great receiver? He's not. Devontae Adams was. And where you got to shift the whole defense towards Adams, Cobb eats. All these other guys eat. Um, that's been the book on Rodgers. And really great quarterbacks. Great quarterbacks don't have to have the best receiver because they'll make them great. So I expect the Jets to win the NFC East. Let's see. Moving on to AFC West. All right. Bottom of the barrel there, Denver Broncos. I know they got Buddy Bo Nix out there. Let's see what Sean Payton brings to the table. Not really a whole lot to say about this team. I mean, there's some good fantasy implications out there, Javonte Williams, things like that. But we'll see. I really don't have a ton of faith in Denver. I just don't see it. I don't know. We'll see. But they're bottom of the barrel. I think they may be them and the Patriots may be the worst two teams in the AFC. Might just. Right above them. I gotta go to Raiders. What do they got at quarterback? Aiden O'Connell, got Gardner Minshew. I like Gardner Minshew. Minshew Mania. I remember it. Just seems like a regular guy. But they don't really have enough. They're going to show up and they're going to play and they're going to play hard and they're going to win some games. They're gonna win some games against good teams. I just don't see it. I just don't. Next to them, LA Chargers. Now, I'm not as high on the LA Chargers as everybody else. A lot of people are higher on the Chargers just because they brought in Harbaugh. That's cool. That's all right. But all you got is Herbert, and the cover's pretty big. There's a bunch of guys that, I might know their names, but most people don't. You let Keenan go. You let Austin Eckler go. Mike Williams go. That's a lot. That's a lot on a young quarterback. We'll just see what happens. I know Harbaugh is going to change the culture there. It's going to be a better run team than what's been there. But you still got to have the players. You got to have groceries. Good groceries cook a good meal. If not, you got ramen. And what I think the Chargers have right now, they got filet mignon with Herbert going over a bed of ramen. And I'm not talking about that good stuff. I'm talking about $3 for $1 Marshawn ramen. That's what I see happening. So I don't think they're going to be that great. Top of the AFC West, Kansas City. Pains me to say it. You know why? Pains me to say it. But I mean, until somebody knocks them off, there's nothing to say. I mean, they're coming back with a great defense. Steve Spagnuolo's still there. We know they're going to be well coached on the defensive side. But on the offense, still got Big Red. Still got Patty Mahomes. Still got Travis Kelce. But now you have Isaiah Pacheco, who's a year older, a year wiser. He's going to be solid. You got Rashee Rice over there. Going to be good. There's really, really not too many holes in Kansas City. I hate to say it, but they look like that team. It's going to be tough to knock them down. You're going to have a real gunslinger that really, really can paint them edges to beat them. You really are. Because the defense is going to show up. So you got to stay up with them. As much as I hate to say it, I got them winning the AFC West. Let's go to AFC South. AFC South is murky water. Because I actually believe that's going to be a real tough division too, just like the AFC North. Real tough division. Bottom of that division, I got Tennessee Titans. Nothing, I don't really have like terrible things to say about them or anything like that. They've kind of reformulated this team, but we're going in the first year with the new coach. We're going Will Levis. His first year just full starter going in. We still got D Hop out there. They did go and pick up Calvin Ridley. They did get Tony Pollard. The offense is going to be a little revamped. Let's see how it works. The defense, I don't know. Remember, they got this new coach. When Mike Vrabel was there, that Vrabel Patriot mentality, that hard hat, the whole nine, that's what they had. and you can count on that defense. I don't know now. I really don't. So we'll see what happens. So I got to kind of leave them in that spot, uh, so to speak. Then, it's tough. It's tough work out here. I'm going to have to say the Colts. A lot of people are really high on Anthony Richardson. I have nothing to tear down his game. We know that they're going to put out a good team. Pittman's still out there. We know they're great in the backfield. Want to see if Jonathan Taylor keeps wearing the Guardian cap. Don't know. We know that they're coached well. If Anthony Richardson stays healthy, they could be a real top tier threat. But first word in that sentence was if. He's still a young cat. This is going to be his first full year if he can make it through the year. Came in as a starter last year, got hurt, didn't last long at all. So I don't know. I don't know. That one's going to be in parentheses. We'll see, right? Then I'm gonna go Jacksonville. Now Jacksonville, let's see. Going into last year, Jacksonville was the it team. We're seeing a young Trevor Lawrence go the year before, have that big comeback in the playoffs, knock off the Chargers. Doug Peterson's there. He's a quarterback kind of guru type dude, if you will. And they just did not get it done down the stretch. They just didn't. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, he looked kind of average. You got ETN back there. You got Christian Kirk out there. How they let Calvin Ridley know, I don't know. But they picked up Gabe Davis. Now, Trevor can get that long ball out there, and Gabe can go get it. But let's see. Let's just see. I don't know what their defense is going to do. Last year, they really let me down. I think that they're going to be okay, but I don't think that they're going to knock the number one team in their division off the horse, the Houston Texans. What we saw last year out of C.J. Stroud, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, they ball. They ball. There's really nothing to say. We know DeMeco Ryans, he's going to come out with a fantastic defense, great energy, great culture. That's what he did there. Right? Let's see. You add Stephon Diggs. You add Joe Mixon. The offense should be better. But this is CJ's second year. We know about sometimes in the second year, things fall back a little bit. I believe that they'll still be okay, but I think that division is going to be a tough one to play in. Still got Houston taking that division home. I think they're going to be a really good, really sound football team. We know that they're well coached. We know that they have the players. I think CJ approaches the game correctly, for him at least, but to be able to succeed. So I think that they'll be all right. Now, let's go to the playoffs. So this is how I have it laid out. I'm going to put KC at the number 1 seed. At the number 2 seed, I'm going with the Jets. Number 3 seed, I'm going with Houston. Number 4 seed, because of the toughness of the division, I'm going with the Cleveland Browns. All right. Then in the wild cards. Now this is different. First wild card spot, I got Miami. Second wild card spot, I got Baltimore. In the last wild card spot, squeaking in by the hair of their chin, I got the Buffalo Bills. I just think those teams, when I look at Miami, Buffalo, Baltimore, they're coached. They're coached real well. They have teams that were there last year that have been there before in the playoffs and that are going to be able to get through the end of the season, the stress, all of the turmoil that goes through that. Now, teams that I'm just leaving out of there. Cincy, like I said, I got to see what's up with Joey B. I don't really know what's going to go on with it. T. Higgins, what's going to happen? I don't know, right? There's nothing, doesn't look like anything good is going to happen. He'll play, but I don't know. I don't know, right? AFC South, Jacksonville, I personally think that Trevor Lawrence, he's just gotten into that average quarterback territory. I do. So that's how I got the AFC, the playoff picture going. Now in the AFC Championship, I got Kansas City versus the Jets. So the Jets at Kansas City, because I have Kansas City as the number 1 seed. Raucous environment. You know, Patrick Mahomes is going to show up to play. You know, the boys are going to be ready. That's just what it is. You can't run from it at this point. Say what you want. You can't do a lot of hating and running from the fact that they're a really damn good team. We can kind of make up and say whatever we want. Nothing's rigged. People like to say the NFL is rigged. If the NFL was rigged, the Cowboys would have won the championship in this century. Because that is the team that everyone wants to run their yaps about. And they ain't winning nothing. If the NFL was rigged, you know, there'd be a lot of different things going on, right? Kansas City's good. You just can't run from it. When you lose to Kansas City, if you play a really good game and you lose to them, it's more about what you didn't do than what they did typically. 2 Super Bowls. 49ers didn't do what they had to do. Kansas City capitalized off of it. Congrats to them. And I think they're going to get right back into the AFC Championship. Now the Jets. This is why you get Aaron Rodgers for this playoff run. Because I have the Jets playing Buffalo, playing Houston, playing KC. I think Rodgers is going to come to play. He knows how to get it done. And we know that the guy can throw like ridiculous Hail Marys at the end of quarters or at the end of halves, in the games, take one home. You know, this is something that the players playing against him, they haven't seen him in the playoffs. It's going to be a different thing. As long as that defense holds up, I actually have the Jets beating the Chiefs. I do. I think I think that as good as the Chiefs are, one thing that Patrick Mahomes hasn't had to do, except for he's done it once in the Super Bowl, he hasn't really had to play like an Aaron Rodgers type. A guy that can go out there and sling right with him and beat him. It's going to be an interesting one. But I got the Jets taking down the AFC this year. We'll see. At the very least, I got Kansas City and the Jets in the conference championship. But we'll just see what happens. I think it's going to be a really good season, really entertaining season. I just think at the end of the day, the teams that you could sit back and look at and just say they should be there will be there. Can't really take anything from Kansas City. You know, Houston, they're a little younger, but they're going to be a good team. The Jets, they're built for one man. If the man stays healthy, they'll be good. They'll be good. They'll be great. 49ers played in week 1. Now, do I think that we'll beat them? Of course. But they're going to be a damn good team. It's just what they're going to be. Cleveland, it's going to be real interesting to see. Now, if Cleveland is right, if the quarterback is right and they're clicking, Cleveland could run the table in the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised at that at all. I'd be more surprised if, say, Buffalo did. But let's just see what happens. So this is going to be a real good one. That was my AFC breakdown. AFC pick, New York Jets. See you next time where we will break down the NFC and we'll talk Super Bowl and I'll tell you who I think is going to take it home. Until then, y'all be easy. Matter of fact, fuck until then. Watch the next episode.